So not too long ago, I showed you how I redesigned the window box planter filter system in this 75-gallon tank. And it's been working fine, but keeping this window box planter in this tank is a big mistake. And so I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing differently instead. I also want to show you some new fish I got for this tank, and also something that I got for free that is getting me started on a new project. But I need your help in making a decision about this new project. So be sure to stick around for that. But first, let's get started. Let's talk about this mistake. I've decided that the current planter system that I have in place here does not fit with my future plans very well. I need to be able to easily move plants around between tanks here in the house and the ones in the greenhouse. A big part of my goal for this channel is to show you how all these different house plants can be used together, and so I need to be able to easily move plants around as current projects develop and also as new projects begin. Another downside to the current setup is that, and I've mentioned this before in some previous videos, but the tank itself, but especially the riparium plants, are too dependent on the hob filter, which I've been using as the water pump to circulate the water through the planter box. So if the power goes out or the hob filter unit fails, then these plant roots are stuck in this planter box with no access to the rest of the water in the tank. And I don't have holes drilled in the planter box by design because I have a dirt layer in the bottom of the substrate. So if there were holes in the planter, there'd be nutrients leaching all over the place. So with these plant roots unable to access the rest of the tank water, it means they're not feeding on the nutrients in the tank, which potentially could build up to toxic levels for the fish if the water is not circulating for an extended period of time. So instead of having the window box planter system in place, I'm going to use several individual basket type planters, which will allow me to more easily change plants around when I want to redesign again. I can just take out the basket with the plant and swap it out for a different one from the greenhouse. So if I want to use a parlor palm instead of a lucky bamboo, I can just easily switch them out. This gives me a more modular planter system for when I'm changing up ripariums or starting a new project. Plus, in these planters, the roots will have direct access to the water all of the time, which keeps them from being overly dependent on that hob filter. Something else I'm doing to prevent over-dependence on that hob filter is I'm putting an air stone back into this tank. Now, for a while, I was using an air stone, an air pump, in addition to the hob filter, just as a backup or whatever. But I got away from it at some point. I think I needed the air pump for another project I was doing at the time. But anyway, recently I watched Dan's video from Everyday Fish Keeping, and he was talking about the value of redundancy built into your filter system. And so that reminded me, I got to get that air pump going again. So thanks, Dan, for that reminder. And y'all be sure to check out that video. So now with that air pump, I've got water flowing around those plant roots continuously, providing oxygen and nutrients all the time. But even if the hob filter doesn't fail completely, it can still get clogged up, especially if you're using a pre-filter on it like I do. There have been a number of instances where I just happen to notice that the water is barely flowing because of the pre-filter being clogged, and who knows how many days that had been going on. So having that air pump in place can really ensure that water just stays moving constantly. Well, now I have the basket planters in place. I'm using lava rock as a substrate, and I did keep the PVC pipe stand in the back of the tank so that I could rest the planters on. So this setup should make it easier to change out the plants when I need to and reduce over-dependence on the hob filter. The new fish that I've got in this tank are black skirt tetras, a rainbow shark, and a peppered corydoras. And I'm planning to add more cories eventually. And these fish were part of the free deal that I mentioned earlier. Along with the fish came a 55-gallon fish tank with a stand. So two projects that I've had on my radar for a while now are a planted goldfish riparium. Is it possible? We'll find out. And an Amazon Blackwater biotope. So, which one of these projects should I start with first with this free tank? Let me know in the comment section below what you think. And now I've got to figure out where this tank is going to go, but that's just a minor detail, right? Well, thank you for joining me today, and I will hope to see you next time. Don't forget to like this video if you have enjoyed it, and remember, it's all about the plants.